Laws Part 1. So our first rule would be x to the power of 0 will always be equal to 1. X can be represented as any letter, but any letter to the power of 0 will always be 1. So let's try a question. 4x to the power of 0 will be equal to 4 times x to the power of 0. This is also equal to 4 times, now we know x to the power of 0 is equal to 1, so 1. 4 times 1 is equal to 4. Our next question will be 6x to the power of 0. This is equal to 6x to the power of 0. This will be 6, open bracket 1, therefore your final answer will be 6. Our next example will be 7x to the power of 0 plus 2x to the power of 0. This will be equal to 7 into x to the power of 0 plus 2 into x to the power of 0. Next, we can write 7 into 1 plus 2 into 1 because x to the power of 0 is 1. So we get 7 plus 2, so our final answer will be 9. Our next rule, which will be rule number 2, is x to the power of minus n will be equal to 1 over x to the power of n. Let's try an example. X to the power of minus 1. This will be equal to 1 over x to that number, which is 1, which is also equal to 1 over x. Our next example will be x to the power of minus 5, which is equal to 1 over x to the power of 5. Let's try another question. X to the power of minus 1 plus n to the minus 1. 1 over m plus 1 over n using our index law. Therefore, we can simplify this by cross-multiplying it. So we will get 1 into m plus 1 into m will be equal to that over m times n. This will be equal to 1 times n, which is m, plus 1 times n, which is m, divided by mn. That will be your final answer. Now, for rule number 3 of index laws, we have x to the power of n inside brackets to the power of y will be equal to x to the power of n times y. Now let's try and do a question on this. X to the power of 2 in brackets times by minus 1. So this will be x to the power of 2 times by minus 1. This will be equal to x to the power of 2 times minus 1, which is minus 2. And using our other index laws, we can write 1 over x to the power of 2. Our next example will be 6 to the power of 1 inside brackets to the power of 4 will be equal to 6 and 4 times 1, which will be equal to 6 to the power of 4. This question may tell you to evaluate the answer. In this case, the answer will be 1296. Our next example will be open bracket x to the power of 4, close bracket to the power of 4. We will get x to the power of 4 times 4. This will be equal to x to the power of 16 as your final answer. Our next rule, which will be rule number 4, will be x to the power of n times by x to the power of m will be equal to x to the power of n plus m. This will be a very important rule as I show you in the next few questions. X to the power of 6 times x to the power of 3 will be equal to x to the power of 6 plus 3, which will be equal to x to the power of 9. Let's try another question. X to the power of 4 times x to the power of minus 5 will give you x to the power of 4 plus minus 5. This will be equal to x to the power of minus 1. Using our other index law, we can write the final answer as 1 over x. Now let's try another question. 3x to the power of 0 plus, open bracket, x to the power of 4 times x to the power of 1, close bracket. Using our first index law, we can write 3, open bracket, x to the power of 0 plus, open bracket, x to the power of 4 plus 1. Now we know x to the power of 0 is 1, so we can write 3 times 1 plus x to the power of 5. 3 times 1 is simply 3, so the final answer will be 3 plus x to the power of 5. Now, for our next rule, rule number 5. Rule number 5 states x to the power of n divided by x to the power of m will give you x to the power of n minus m. Keep in mind, these rules apply when the base is always the same. In this case, the base is always x. X to the power of 4 divided by x to the power of 3 will be equal to x to the power of 4 minus 3. This will simply give you x to the power of 1, which is also equal to x. Our next question will be x to the power of 6 divided by x to the power of 7. See, the bases are the same. X to the power of 6 minus 7 will give you x to the power of minus 1, and using our index laws, we can write the final answer as 1 over x. Let's try another example. X to the power of 4 times x to the power of 6 in brackets divided by x to the power of 5. Now, since the bases are the same, we can write x to the power of 4 plus 6 divided by x to the power of 5. 4 plus 6 is 10, so we can write x to the power of 10 divided by x to the power of 5. This is another way of writing the equation. So x to the power of 10 divided by x to the power of 5 will give you x to the power of 10 minus 5. Your final answer will be x to the power of 5. Now let's try another question. 4, open bracket, x to the power of 0 times x to the power of 4, close bracket, divided by, open bracket, x to the power of 2 times x to the power of 3, close bracket. Now let's simplify this. 4, open bracket, x to the power of 0, which is 1, so simply it will be x to the power of 4, divided by x to the power of 2 plus 3, since we are timesing the powers. Now, 4x to the power of 4 divided by x to the power of 2 plus 3, which is 5. So we can simply write 4x to the power of 4 minus 5. This will give you an answer of 4x to the power of minus 1. So 4, open bracket, 1 over x. Now we can simplify this as 4 over x, which will be your final answer. Our next rule will be rule number 6, which will be our final rule. So this is to do with roots. Roots x to the power of m to the nth power. So this will be equal to x to the power of m over n. Now let's try this example. Cube root of x to the power 6. This will give you x to the power of 6 over 3, which can be simplified to x to the power of 2. Now let's try another question. The cube root of x to the power of 7. X to the power of 7 over 3. That will be your final answer. Let's try another question. Square roots of x squared. So this will simply be x to the power of 2 over 2, which is equal to x to the power of 1, which is also simply equal to x. Let's try another question. X to the power of 8 square rooted by the power of 4. So x to the power of 8 over 4, which is simply equal to x squared. Hope you enjoyed today's index laws. Please like and subscribe if you learned something.